Hi. I am here. Okay, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. You guys. All right. So I have a lot of explaining to do, right? A lot of explaining to do. Hi everybody. Hi. I missed you all. I missed you guys. Hey. Goodness gracious. Let me make sure that you guys can hear me okay. How does the sound sound? How does the sound sound? How does the sound sound? Perfect. All right. Thank you, Deborah. Now, let me go up into the very beginning, the very top. QB comes in and says, make sure to hit that like button. Put your DNA all over that thumbs up. Thank you. We would appreciate it very much. Do all the other YouTube things like, subscribe, hashtag replay if you watch it later, taters. Oh, thank you, QB. How can you get these cool emotes? Join the Crime Cafe family. Memberships are now available. And she put the link there. That link should work on cell phones as well. Hopefully, I think it works for iPhones as well. I think. Good morning, Kel. Hey, I've missed you. I hope you're doing okay. Hope you're doing good. Hey, Sherry. Hi. Hey, Miss Steph. I don't know what that Q word is, but hi. Hey, Lauren. Hey, how are you doing? How are you? Hi, Deborah. Hello, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Hey, Margaret. You waking up? BRB, she says. Waking up, BRB. Waking up, BRB. I did sling a little makeup on today. A little bit. All I did was eyeliner, mascara, and lips. I stopped at the McDonald's earlier this morning and got me an iced coffee. It's very yummy. hmm Sorry for that slurp, but yum. It's really good. Okay. Laurence says, I'll not be here long. Had a very bad, long day. Very tired. But wanted to see you all and see how you all are doing. I'm sorry you're having a bad day, Lauren. I'm sorry. Deborah says, hope kids doing good back to school. Well, that's part of the reason why I haven't been live. We'll get into it here in a minute. Hey, Miss King. Good morning. Okay, those are adorable little Australian animals. They always smile. Google it. Okay. Hey, Morgana Banana. Hi. Steph said, I mean, you did say you didn't want her to go, right? I know, but I don't want her to not go because of being sick. You guys, okay, 3 days in. She started school on Tuesday. That was the day they were supposed to go back. Well, Eli went back on Monday, but kindergarten started on Tuesday. So she goes all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday, all day Thursday. Thursday night, she's sick. Boom. High fever. And if you don't know already, The little kiddo has what they call febrile seizures, which means they spike fevers, and then she has seizures if her fever gets too high. And it did. It went up past 103, got to like, I think the highest it got was like 104, which is high. But that's normal for her when she has some kind of virus or infection. So she, we kept an eye on her, Tylenol, ibuprofen around the clock. Um, Friday, she wasn't, you know, any better. Couldn't hardly get her to eat or drink anything. So got her into the doctor, and she's got a double ear infection. So they put her on an antibiotic. She's been taking that. Much better now. Over the weekend was tough still, but Saturday was kind of meh. Sunday was better. But she got a lot of rest, and she got her appetite back, and she was eating and drinking and taking her medicine, doing all the things she's supposed to do. So then Monday, yesterday, the doctor wanted her to stay out because she wanted from school because she wanted her to come back for a follow-up appointment to make sure, because her lungs, she was sounding a little bit wheezy too. She just wanted to make sure she wasn't like trying to get something crazy. So, she took, or I took her back to her follow-up. Everything sounded good, looked good. She still has one more day left of antibiotics, so yeah. She could go back to school today. So she went back to school today. Now, big kiddo is sick. Big kiddo sick now. And I personally didn't feel great over the weekend. But so yeah. Mm, 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 mm. So they're both at school currently. I mean, I say sick, but he's not running a fever or anything like that. I don't know if his is the same thing she had, like whatever virus she caught that caused her ear infection, because it was something viral or bacterial or what. I think it was viral, but anyway. Or maybe it was bacterial. Yeah, because they don't give antibiotics for viral stuff, right? Or maybe I get confused. I get them confused. Anyway, I think Eli's junk is allergies, but either way, either or. He went to school today. He'll be home because he does half days, right? And then I still have to pick little kiddo up from school. So I thought today we would trial hop, but that's why I have been MIA, okay? I thought about going live yesterday, but after I got him off to school, she was off yesterday for school. So whenever I got him out the door, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to lay down with her and go back to sleep for a little bit. And that's what I did. So, anyways. Who made you a mixtape? Hi, Henny. Hi, Henny. Lauren says, Jenny, with 540 subs, I'm so proud of you. Almost 550. Keep going, ma'am. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you. Yeah, I know, Kel. 3 days in. Whammo. Yeah, thumbs up. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Are you guys using the fire out of your cute little emojis? I love the emojis. And I forgot that they were there until I was looking at a at one of the streams earlier, and I was like, "Oh, look, there they are." Uh, oh, Morgana's daughter. She made me a playlist for my birthday. She's my new girlfriend because she's already put more effort than any any men could never. Right? You guys using those emojis. They're awful cute. I will say that they're awful cute. They're awful cute. Um, you know what? Let me look at something real quick. Hold on a minute. Hold on. Let me see if I can do something a little fancy pantsy. Hold on a minute. I can. I can. Check this out. Hold on. Okay, this is cute. Look. I can change my little disclaimer fair use notice up in the top right corner. Oh, no, wrong thing. Look at that. She's like, oh, I ain't having it. No, that's Bev's bangs. That wasn't meant to be an overlay. That was meant to be, but it is cute as an overlay. It was meant to be. Let me add it here. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. There, it's the logo. How cute is that? Look at her, look. How cute is she? She's so... Here we go. Hold on. Wait, I need some bangs. What can I use as bangs? Hold on a minute. Let me get a Kleenex. Hold on. Here, I got a Kleenex. Here's my bangs. Okay. Here's my bangs, my Bev bangs. And speak up or I'm turning the air conditioner. Hold on. I got to do the Boston accent. Speak up? No. Wait. See, it's been too long and I've forgotten now how she did it. Hold on. Gotta park the car. Y'all better speak up. Or I'm turning the air conditioner off. That ain't gonna work. No. All right. Where's Gail, by the way? I have not seen Gail in, I feel like, 52 years. Where is she? Gail, we miss you. All right. They don't say y'all. You can't, Lauren. You can't. All right. Okay. Let's we're going to do a little bit of trial hopping today. All right. So QB has been talking to me about this Robert Tellis trial that's supposed to be starting, I think, tomorrow. Hopefully, if they get a jury seated today, we'll see if that happens. Hold on. Hold on, I got text message from Eli's teacher, not the little one's teacher. I can't multitask. You guys know that. But QB was telling me about this trial starting with this Robert. Is his name Robert Tellis? I think that's his name. And apparently he is on trial for the murder of Some guy by the last name of it looks like German, but apparently it's pronounced German. And I think this guy was a news reporter or a journalist or something. QB, tell me if I'm way off here. But yeah, that's apparently what that trial is about. But in the meantime, since that one isn't started yet, yes, we do, QB. If you want to put that link in the chat, you're more than welcome to. Yes, thank you. A new place to watch trials, y'all please go like our new friend at Trial TV Live. There's a link there. It won't let you give me a thumbs up, Steph? Weird. You boob. Okay. So there is a until we can get that trial started, which I think is supposed to start tomorrow. There were a couple that started today, and I thought that we could peep in on them. That's why I called it a trial peep. You guys know we do that every once in a while, right? We peep in on these other trials to see kind of what's going on here, there, and yonder. But there's a couple. One for this dude named Sean Finnegan, I think in Tennessee. And then another one for this gal named Susan Laurence from Florida. So I thought that we could take a peep in there, please, and kind of see what we think. Maybe one to keep up with. I'm assuming they're going to be shorter-ish trials just simply because I've never heard of these. Usually the ones that just pop up all of a sudden are usually pretty quick. But let me share the tab with you. Hold on, I need to close out some of these tabs here. Present, share screen. Share. All right. So now we have this one here, okay? And I'm going to read the description here from Law and Crime. Back to the beginning of the thing, and then we'll get to, I guess, like opening statements. But let me look really quickly. All right, this 58-year-old Florida woman, Susan Laurence, was charged with manslaughter after admitting to shooting her neighbor, 35-year-old, I don't know how to say that name, Ajike, something, Ajike, Owens, in June 2023. Laurence reportedly called police 7 times in 1 year to complain about Owens' children playing near her home. The feud between Laurence and Owens turned deadly when Owens went to speak with Laurence about a dispute involving her children. Laurence said she shot Owens through her front door in self-defense. She was charged with first-degree manslaughter after authorities determined there wasn't sufficient evidence to charge her with second-degree murder. She faces up to 30 years in prison if convicted. Oof, that sounds... Really? Really? She sounds a little bit hateful. Spite? All right. Then we have this other one. Hold on. Let's share this tab. Now, this one, I'm going to say they're both probably very triggering, right? It was a woman. It was a female. It was the kid's mom that she killed, Steph. Let me put this trigger warning banner up just in case, because I feel like this one I was listening in on this one earlier. But I was like, ooh, there was some stuff about this one that I was like, very triggering. But I'm going to look to see if I can, because I had the, hold on a minute. Where did it go? Why did they take it off there? Weird. Okay, I don't know. But there was a Law and Crime had a stream up for this trial today or earlier today, but I don't know where it went. They weren't streaming it, and then I read in the chat that this news place here had it on. So I went over here to look, but they don't have anything really in the description other than Sean Finnegan is on trial for the 2020 R word and murder of 36-year-old Jennifer Paxton in 2020. But that was why I said, trigger warning, because it does talk about R word. So let me go back over here to the chat real quick. Steph said I had to turn my phone sideways and turn off chat, and then it let me. That's weird. People are losing their minds, right? Hey, Spins. Hey. She says, I'm a mod, question mark. Yes, ma'am. Yes. You are. How are you feeling, by the way? How are you feeling? Hi. Hi. How are you feeling, ma'am? Kel said, watch out, Spins. She got a ranch, right? Right, QB? She got a ranch. Margaret says, I'm back. My anxiety is off the hinges today. Oh, no, I'm a big old Aunt Bev's bangs mess. Why are you a mess? Why are you a mess? Sven says, y'all better behave. Someone hit their head and made me. No, I thought that, you're pretty good at that kind of stuff. So I was like, I might as well. I mean, right? I always need more. So not the best. I'm sorry, babe. I'm sorry. Margaret says, I'm all wonky right now, but chat's on. I'll feel better in a minute. I'm sorry. Go get you some iced coffee, Margaret. That makes everything better. And the McDonald's iced coffee is good. Y'all pray for my Spinsy. Yeah, throw some prayers, hearts, and love out for our Spins. She's recuperating. She's recuperating from her surgery. Thursday is when you had it, right, ma'am? Send the love and the prayers out to Miss Spins. Spinsy. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit of I almost said deep dive, but that's not the word. We're gonna do a little bit of a peep, like we're peeping in, not like a weird kind of peep, not like a creeper peep, but more like a peeping. Like I always say this, I'm like, when you go to pay your like property taxes or whatever, or you go to pay a speeding ticket or whatever, and you walk by and there's a courtroom and you're like, I could just pop in, I'm just going to sneak in the little courtroom door here and plop my butt right down in the gallery in that very last seat and, you know, be a fly on the wall here. Not a weird peep, right? Not a weird peep. But we're going to peep. We're going to peep in on it was Thursday. Okay, Spence. I thought so. I need to set the alarm on my phone. Okay. Hold on, folks. Sorry, I'm rattle trapped. I'm a rattle trap. 15. All right. I'm going to turn the volume down here a little bit so whenever the alarm does go off, it don't blow your all's eardrums out. Yee! Okay, so we're gonna start with somebody said I heard somebody say that this dude looks like oh shoot, what was his not Marilyn Manson. Good grief. The beautiful people. Not that one. The creeper. The really big one. The Manson dude. They said he's got Manson eyes, like creepy eyes. But apparently if I'm not mistaken, I was listening to this dude like kept her in his apartment in a freezer for like months and months and months, you guys. The girl that he killed. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a little creepy weird. Let me do a poll real quick. I want to do a poll though. Hold on. I'm going to do a poll. Let me do a poll. A poll. Hold on a minute. To go into the channel and let me let the chat load so I can go in here and do a poll real quick. If you haven't yet, please make sure to give the video a thumbs up. I just thumbs up my own video. You know what? I'm allowed to do that. And I did that. There were 11 thumbs ups, and I gave myself a 12th thumbs up. Please give this video a thumbs up. Please. Thank you. All right, hurry up. Chat load on my screen here. I need chat load on my screen. It's taking its very sweet time. There we go. Okay. A poll. Which are you? Mm, all right. Okay. So I'm getting ready to put this poll up. Oh, somebody said Charles Manson. That's it. I couldn't think of his daggone name. Couldn't think of his daggone name. Um, I'm going to put this poll up real quick. I haven't started it yet, but the question is, which trial do you want to peep first today? And I just clicked start the poll, so make sure to go and answer. But we're not going to watch the entire trial, okay? We're just going to kind of look at the opening statements, I guess, of each, maybe. Um, and kind of see, what's what. I figured it'd be a good time to kind of like check out some other things while we wait for that Ellis trial to start tomorrow. Steph says, "Staying in bed is hard when your cat wants to play tug of war with your sheets." Eek. You like that? Bev up in the corner is giving you life. I need to make her a white background so she shows up better. I do, I do, I do. You're welcome, Spins. You're welcome. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for your ranch. She got a ranch. Daggone, I keep getting these phone calls. Hold on a minute. Un momento. Hold on one quick second. I love whenever doctor's offices call and they're like, "I'm sorry, our provider will not be there on your scheduled date. Can we reschedule your appointment?" And I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "Okay, it's either today at 3 o'clock or the 29th of August at 11:30 in the morning." I'm like, "Really? That's the only two options you can give me? Like 2 weeks from today or 3 o'clock today?" No, I'm going to have to call you back. And he's like, "Okay, well, if you call me back, those two appointments may be gone." I'm like, "Sorry. What do you want me to tell you? I can't get there today. And I can't guarantee the 29th is going to work either." Okay, now, so let me go see what you guys did in the poll. What have you guys picked and chosen? We've got 8 votes. All right. Anybody else to vote? Because we got 14 people in the chat right now. Hi, 14 people. Hi. Um, would love for you guys to vote and let me know What you think? Okay, now we're at 11. All right. Looks like the crazy neighbor lady is the one that's going to win because that one is the vast majority. The crazy neighbor lady. All right. So I'm going to end the poll here. Got 12 votes. Anybody else? Anybody else? Going once. Going twice. Going 3 times. Sold at crazy neighbor lady. Sold at crazy neighbor lady. All right. Crazy lady neighbor it is. Let's scooch over here and share this tab. And I'm going to make it a bigger tab. Let me make that bigger. Okay. Now, let me get to I will say the audio on this is pretty rough. And I've like had the volume up as high as it'll go. So if you guys have AirPods or earbuds or headphones, probably be best if you put those in. But this is the crazy neighbor lady. And forgive me for calling her crazy. I don't mean that literally. I don't know this woman. I'm just, you know how you get the crazy cat lady, you know? Not that she likes cats, I'm just saying. Um okay. QB, you go get yourself ready for PT, ma'am. You be safe today too, out and about. You be safe out there at the boat. Get to the all right. I'm for sure gonna have to put headphones on myself because unless they get the audio figured out here momentarily, I don't know because yeeks. Yeah, you be safe out there, QB. Don't be, trying to drive through no flooded roads. My husband says that all the time, Steph. I resemble that remark. He says that all the time and it cracks me up. Goals Coven. Um, that's gotta be me if people don't quit dropping animals off. Ooh. All right, I get here we go. All right, like I said, volume is up as high as I can get it. It's as all the way up as it'll go, okay? So, um, make sure that you have your volume turned all the way up and turn around, don't drown. Yes, Morgana. Talking to QB. But make sure you have your headphones on or AirPods or earbuds if you have them handy dandy, because you're going to need them. Okay. You all don't hear anything? Hmm. I can hear it. Okay, well, let me hold on a minute. Let me go back. Hold on. Not a single sound is sounding. Okay, well, hold on. Let me stop sharing that. And then let me go back and reshare it. Uh,
Need a break? Please raise your hand. Please don't just walk out. Please raise your hand. Then everyone takes a break at the same time. Okay, that's how it works. If most of the testimony will be from the witness stand, the attorneys will mostly be on or around the podium. There's microphones everywhere here. If for some reason you miss something, please raise your hand and let me know. Please don't talk directly to the witness or the attorneys yourself.
okay, could you hear it now? Can you hear it now? Like, I mean, it's still very low, but you should be able to hear something. Okay, now you hear it. Okay. Good deal. All right. Good now. All right. I don't know. Maybe StreamYard was being janky or something. I don't know.
However, it is a lot easier for us to have someone repeat something than to have to go back later and try to reconstruct what they said. Okay? So if you didn't hear anything, please just raise your hand. Ask me to have the witness repeat themselves or speak up. If they're speaking too softly, just raise your hand and I'll direct them to speak up. Sometimes there's videos or audios being played. We just use the universal volume up, volume down for whatever you need on that. Okay? I'll let you know that anything that comes into evidence in this trial, whether it be a piece of evidence, whether it be a video that's played, you will have an opportunity to look at now, and also you'll be able to see that when you deliberate. So when you go to deliberate, the evidence, the physical evidence, will be brought to you into the jury room. There's no computers in the jury room, so if you need to see videos or audio again, you'll send a note to me and make that request, and then we'll come back here and play it for you. You can watch it as many times as you want. You can get as close to the screens as you want. Whatever you want to do will be up to you, okay? I do want to just inquire of you, has anyone contacted any of you in any way about this case? I see no hands. And raise your hand if they have. Have any of you contacted anyone else about this case? No, I see no hands. Have any of you gone online and looked up anything about this case? I see no hands. I do appreciate it. If you can listen carefully, I'll have your preliminary instructions, okay? And if you can't hear me, let me know and I'll speak up, okay? Not usually a problem, but you never know. Members of the jury, you have been selected and sworn as the jury to try the case of State of Florida versus Susan Louise Laurence. This is a criminal case. Susan Laurence is charged with manslaughter by use of a firearm. The definition of manslaughter by use of a firearm will be explained to you later. You must decide this case based on the evidence presented and the law that I give you. Evidence consists of the sworn testimony of witnesses, exhibits admitted into evidence, and anything else that I tell you to consider as evidence. The state's charging document, which is called an information, is not evidence and is not to be considered by you as any proof of guilt. It is my responsibility to explain the law to you. It is your solemn responsibility to determine if the state proved its accusation beyond a reasonable doubt against Susan Laurence in accordance with the law that I provide to you. Thus, the province of the jury and the province of the court are well defined, and they do not overlap. This is one of the fundamental principles of our system of justice. Before proceeding further, it will be helpful if you understand how a trial is conducted. At the beginning of the trial, the attorneys will have an opportunity, if they wish, to make an opening statement. The opening statement gives the attorneys a chance to tell you what evidence they believe will be presented during the trial. What the lawyers say is not evidence, and you are not to consider it as such. Following the opening statements, witnesses will be called to testify under oath. They will be examined and cross-examined by the attorneys. Documents and other exhibits may be introduced as evidence. After the evidence has been presented, the court will give you instructions on the law. The attorneys will then have the opportunity to make their closing arguments. Following the closing arguments by the attorneys, the court will conclude with the final instructions. After the final instructions are given, the alternate juror will be released, and then you will retire to consider your verdict. You should not form any definite or fixed opinion on the merits of the case until you have heard all the evidence, the argument of the lawyers, and the instructions on the law that I give to you. Until that time, you should not discuss the case among yourselves. Your verdict must be based solely on the evidence or lack of evidence in the law. Jurors must decide the case without distraction and only on the evidence presented in the courtroom. Jurors must not conduct any investigation of their own. This includes reading newspapers, watching television, or using a computer, cell phone, the internet, any electronic device, or any other means at all to get information related to this case or the people and places involved in this case. You may not visit places mentioned in the trial or use the internet to look at maps or pictures to see any place discussed during the trial. If you investigate, research, or make inquiries on your own, the trial judge has no way to make sure that the information you obtain is proper for the case. The parties likewise have no opportunity to dispute or challenge the accuracy of what you find. This is contrary to our judicial system, which assures every party the right to ask questions about and challenge the evidence being considered against it, and to present argument with respect to that evidence. Any independent investigation by a juror unfairly and improperly prevents the parties from having that opportunity our judicial system promises. You are also not permitted to communicate about this case with anyone, including your spouse, family members, friends, neighbors, and even your fellow jurors. No communication includes no in-person, telephonic, or electronic communication such as emailing, text messaging, posting information on a social media or website, or any other form of communication. During the trial, the court may take recesses, and you will be permitted to separate and go about your personal affairs. It is important to remember that the prohibition on communication about this case applies during these recesses, whether you are in the courthouse or anywhere else. If at any time you find yourself in a situation where others are discussing the case in your presence, leave that situation at once and immediately report the matter to the bailiff, who will advise me. All cell phones, computers, tablets, or other types of electronic devices must be turned off while you're in the courtroom. Turned off means that the phone or other electronic device is actually off and not in a silent or vibrating mode. You may use these devices during recesses, but even then you may not use your cell phone or electronic device to find out any information about the case or communicate with anyone about the case or the people involved in the case. Do not take photographs, video recordings, or audio recordings of the proceedings or of your fellow jurors. After each recess, please double check to make sure your cell phone or electronic device is turned off. At the end of the case, while you are deliberating, you must not communicate with anyone outside the jury room. You cannot have in the jury room any cell phones, computers, or other electronic devices. If someone needs to contact you in an emergency, the court can receive messages and deliver them to you without delay. A contact number can be provided to you. Any juror who violates these restrictions jeopardizes the fairness of these proceedings, and a mistrial could result that would require the entire trial process to start over. A mistrial is a tremendous expense and inconvenience to the parties, the court, and the taxpayers. If you violate these rules, you may be held in contempt of court and face sanctions such as serving time in jail, paying a fine, or both. In every criminal proceeding, a defendant has the absolute right to remain silent. At no time is it the duty of a defendant to prove her innocence. From the exercise of the defendant's right to remain silent, a jury is not permitted to draw any inference of guilt. And the fact that the defendant did not take the witness stand must not influence your verdict in any manner whatsoever. The attorneys are trained in the rules of evidence and trial procedure. It is their duty to make all objections they feel are proper. When an objection is made, you should not speculate on the reason why it is made. Likewise, when an objection is sustained or upheld by me, you must not speculate on what might have occurred had the objection not been sustained, nor what a witness might have said had the witness been permitted to answer. During the trial, it may be necessary to confer with the attorneys out of your hearing to discuss matters that require consideration by me alone. It is impossible to predict when such a conference may be required or how long it will last. When such conferences occur, they will be conducted to consume as little of your time as is necessary for a fair and orderly trial of the case. If you would like to take notes during the trial, you may do so. On the other hand, of course, you are not required to take notes if you do not want to. That will be left up to you individually. You will be provided with a notepad and pencil for use if you wish to take notes. Any notes that you take will be for your personal use. However, you should not take them with you from the courtroom. During recesses, the bail.
Hey, JB. JB snuck in. Hi, girl. She says, I'm here. I'm just doing the googly thing and multitasking. Hello, everyone. Hi, JB. Good to have you here. I'm going to scooch through the rest of his instructions, just because. Okay. Okay. Let's scooch through those. Okay. Well, there isn't much longer from that, so because now they're getting ready to. Here we go.
Your memory of the evidence. Wait.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. Let me know when you're ready.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good Lord, how old is this guy? Like 5? He looks like a young wee lad.
We are ready.
Whoever's in charge of the audio visual stuff there needs to take care of the audio part of it.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adam Smith. I'm an assistant state attorney.
He's a state attorney. I think he said his name is Adam Smith. I got to get my headphones, you guys. I'm the. Oh, is the mic that loud? Is my mic that loud? QB. QB just texted me. Sorry. So sorry. I'm sorry, QB. QB just sent me a text message and she's like, "Can you turn your volume down?" Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Let me turn my mic volume down, QB. Doggone it. Hold on. Okay. Is this better? Is this better, QB? Tell me if this is better. You're loud because we have the volume cranked up to the courtroom. That's true, Sherry. You're right. She was concerned about Margaret's ear holes. Well, I turned the volume down to 75. Is that a little bit more? Okay, a little bit more. How about 57? Is that good right there? Let me know if that's good. I'm so sorry. Margaret coming in. Myers. Better. Does it still need to be lower? I can lower it some more if I need to. I'll wait. I'll wait. Does it need to go lower? Love you too, QB. Also, you don't sound like that, okay? I'm going to assume that this volume is decent. Um, hello. Can somebody let me know if it's still too loud or if it's good now? Mic check. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Good. Okay. Sherry says good volume. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, thank you, Miss King. Thank you. All right. Let's get back to this, but I'm going to have to get my headphones. Okay.
On behalf of the State Attorney's Office, it's a privilege and an honor to be with you here today. I thank you for your time and I thank you for your attention to this case. This case is about how the defendant, Susan Laurence, shot a bullet through her own locked front door and killed her unarmed neighbor, Massage Jones. You're going to hear in this case why this happened. You're going to hear about Susan Laurence. You're going to hear about Miss Owens. They call her AJ Owens. You're going to hear that she has young children. There are 2 children that are going to come up in this case. Her young sons, Isaac Williams and Israel. You're going to hear why this shooting happened. Susan and Ajika were neighbors. They lived in a neighborhood that had quadruplexes in it, apartments. Susan lived across the street from Ajika. Next to Susan was a field. It wasn't on her property, but it was a field that was next to another part of the building. There were lots of children in this neighborhood. And a lot of those children, including Ms. Owens' children, played in that field. You're going to learn about some problems in this case, some issues between the defendant and Ms. Ajika Owens. You're going to hear that there were arguments between the 2 of them in the past, leading up to the shooting. You're going to hear what those arguments were about, the dog, the children. And you're going to hear that there were arguments between the 2 of them, multiple, but those arguments ended. And everyone went their separate ways. And in this case, you are going to hear in detail the shooting that happened on June 2nd, 2023. You are going to learn about the events leading up to the shooting. You're going to learn that night, it was a Friday night, a summer night, and there were kids. They're playing in the field, and there was an adult with them, Mr. Franklin Cologne. And you're actually going to see the children and Mr. Cologne in the field playing. Why are you going to see them? Because the Marion County Sheriff's Office, in this case, took the defendant's phone, and were able to get videos that the defendant took of the kids playing in the field. Miss Laurence was filming the kids and Mr. Cologne in the field on her patio, and then inside her house through windows. You're going to see these videos. You're going to see the kids playing. The kids finished playing as it got darker, a little bit before 9 o'clock. There's not many kids in the field anymore, but yet the defendant, Miss Laurence, is still filming. What's she recording? Well, you're going to see that video too from her cell phone. She is videotaping roller skates that were left in the grass, according to her, about 5 or 6 feet from a sidewalk that lives up to her apartment. And in this roller skate incident, Miss Owens, Ajika's son, were there. And the defendant has an interaction with them, has a roller skate in her hand, talking to them, and ends up throwing the roller skate. And says, "Here, go fetch." You're going to see where the roller skates were. But the interactions with the children didn't end there at the roller skates. There was another interaction right thereafter involving children of Miss Owens, where the defendant, she said,
Okay, you guys, just a heads up, school bus is coming with bigger kiddo, so I'm gonna have to run out and grab him a quick bite, and then I will be right back, but I'll have my phone with me. Um, so I will be back in just a minute, but I'll keep this rolling, okay?
says in her statement to the detectives, which you will hear, that she is on her patio pavement area with an umbrella, telling the kids to leave, talking with her hands, while the kids, about 5 to 7 feet away from her, or in her words, not even close to her. It's at this point, after videotaping the kids, after videotaping the roller skates, after throwing the roller skates, after waving the umbrella around, interacting with these kids, you will hear that Susan calls 911. You're going to hear that 911 call. Pay attention to that 911 call. In the 911 call, you're going to hear Susan complaining about the kids trespassing, leaving toys, screaming, yelling. She's going to say that one of the kids accused her of taking an iPad. Then she's going to accuse the kids of mouthing off to her. The kids saying they're going to beat her up, they're going to get somebody to kill her. And she calls 911. Now that 911 calls me just before 9 o'clock. And on the 911 call, the dispatcher informs Miss Laurence that they will send a unit out. And Miss Laurence confirms that she is now in her house with her door open. It is at this point, after Susan calls 911 on the kids, she's in her room, in her apartment, with the door locked, that Ajika Owens comes into the picture. You're going to hear testimony from a Uriel Rodriguez. He's a child. You're also going to hear testimony from Sheriff Gardner. He's an adult. But they also live in the neighborhood nearby, both Susan and Ajika. They were outside that evening. And you're going to hear testimony about Ajika walking over after this interaction between Ajika's children and the defendant, the roller skates and all. You're going to hear about how Ajika walked over to Susan's residence. She was angry as she was walking over, but she was unarmed. And you're going to hear testimony of Ajika at the door of Susan. She's angry. She's banging on the door. She's yelling. She's even cussing. People are going to say that. That's what was seen. That's what was heard. You're even going to hear from a neighbor, Miss Yvonne Costa, who lives right next to Susan, of what she heard in her own apartment and how the banging was loud. You're going to hear this evidence. And while this Ajika is banging on the door, you're also going to hear then a gunshot happens while Ajika is still outside. And while you're here, that Ajika was outside banging on the door, saying things to Miss Owens, to the defendant, Miss Laurence. Ajika doesn't go for the door. Doesn't try to break into the room, the apartment of Miss Laurence. But yet there is still a gunshot that strikes unarmed Ajika Owens there on the defendant's patio. She runs off the patio, falls in the grass, and dies from the gunshot wound. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no question in this case that Ajika Owens was shot by the defendant. The defendant admits in her interview to Detective Stitt that she fired her loaded pistol and killed, shot through the door, the locked door, and hit Miss Owens. The Marion County Sheriff's Office collected the .380 pistol that Susan used to shoot Audrey. It was found in a trash can in Susan's bedroom. They found a shell casing inside Miss Susan's apartment. You're going to hear the medical examiner, Dr. Chandel Norford, perform an autopsy on Ajika. She found a projectile inside Ajika's body. You're going to hear from Jamie Williamson from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement that said the projectile that was found in the body of Ajika and the shell casing that was found inside Susan's apartment all came and were fired from the gun that was also collected inside Susan's apartment in the trash can. There is no question that Susan Laurence fired a bullet through her locked front door and killed Miss Owens. The question in this case is whether the defendant was justified in doing this. The defendant gives a statement to Detective Stitt, two different statements. Some long statements, you're going to hear those. And you're going to hear the defendant say many things. You're going to hear the defendant say what happened leading up to the incident. You're going to hear the defendant say that she was in fear. That's why she called 911. But you're also going to hear the defendant and pay attention to the defendant's interview. Is that when she was with the kids, with the roller skates, or with the umbrella, that incident, the kids tell her, "I'm going to tell my mom." And the defendant says, "Go tell your mom. I don't care." The defendant says that. Then you're going to go on and say the defendant was such in fear of Ajika Owens because of these prior incidents. But yet she says, "Go tell your mom. I don't care." You're hearing the defendant talk about calling 911 before Ajika Owens comes over to her house. And again, you're going to hear that 911 call. And I want to draw your attention one more time to that 911 call to listen. Because at the end of the defendant's complaints in that 911 call, out of the blue, you're going to hear this at the end. The defendant says, because what's going to happen is his mom's going to go out, wait for the officer, and run and say, "Oh, I was threatening her kids," which just isn't true. Out of the blue, she says that. Because that's believed what she thought was going to happen. So the defendant will make statements about leading up to the incident. Then the defendant is going to inside her residence when Ajika was there at the door. The defendant is going to say multiple times that she was in fear. Multiple times. But the defendant is going to describe what actually took place. The defendant is going to say she was actually in the bathroom when she heard the bang. Then she goes out to the from the bathroom. She goes out to the door and she hears that it's Ajika. Despite being so scared, she then goes back in to the bathroom to finish washing her hands. Then banging starts again. She goes out, this time into the kitchen with the phone, and then the banging won't stop. She's saying things to Ajika, telling Ajika to leave. And then the defendant goes into her bedroom, grabs the loaded firearm, then walks all the way back out to the locked front door, and the police are on the way as she's been told. She points at the door, fires one shot at the center of the door, shooting and killing Miss Ajika Owens. You're going to hear the defendant say that Ajika kept saying she was going to kill him. There will be testimony from other witnesses who are outside who do not hear that. And it's important to know that from the time that Susan Laurence ended the phone call, with her door locked inside her own apartment, knowing the police were coming, until the time the defendant, or Ajika Owens, is shot, is within only 2.5 minutes. You're going to hear a lot of things the defendant says. You're going to hear the defendant talk about prior incidents with Ajika Owens. You're going to hear the defendant claim that an incident that happened approximately 16 months before this shooting that Ajika attacked her with a no trespassing. But you're also going to hear from Morgan Robinson, another child who was there that day, and what she saw. You're also going to hear from Deputy Jonathan Coleman, who responded to that call, and that no arrest was made. You're going to hear evidence about an incident where the defendant called 911 about 6 months before the shooting, complaining about the kids. Deputy Kinsey arrived. You're going to hear from Deputy Kinsey. And that the defendant first complains about the kids trespassing and then makes a statement that mom came over here and was banging on the door, said, "Come on, my kids again, I'm going to drag you out, beat you." You're going to hear that from that came out. But you're also going to hear from Deputy Kinsey how she came to the incident. She talked to the defendant. She even talked to Ajika Owens that night, and no arrest was made. You're also going to hear, like I said, a very long interview with the defendant and Detective Stith. And listen closely, because nowhere in that interview does the defendant talk about this threat of being dragged out and beaten that she says happened 6 months ago. He doesn't talk about it. The defendant is going to talk about the 911 call she made right after shooting Ajika Owens, and you're going to hear that 911 call. In that 911 call, you're going to hear the defendant crying. You're going to hear the defendant say that she thought Ajika was going to break down the door. But you're also going to hear the defendant in the middle of this complain about trespassing, about leaving garbage around the house, kids. And she's going to talk about how Ajika had a broken down Honda that was garbage. In the middle of the 911 call, she just says that. You're going to hear the crying, but you're also going to see Deputy Barbosa's body cam. You're going to hear Deputy Barbosa's testimony on the witness stand. And he was one of the initial responding officers to the scene. How he goes right up to the door. Susan Laurence comes out of the door. She's detained. she's not crying, and she just wants to make sure that the door is closed so her cats don't get outside. You're going to hear the defendant say that she's shot by the kitchen table. But you're also going to see pictures from the sheriff's office, lasers, trajectory rods, to help you determine where the defendant actually was when she was shot. You're going to hear the defendant talk about how her door wasn't secure. But you're going to hear from the defendant's landlord, Charles Gabbard, talk about the repairs that he had made to the door prior to this incident and how the door was secure at the time of this. You're going to hear the defendant say that she feared for her life. Now she thought she shot because she thought it was either going to be her or it was going to be us. But yet you're also going to hear the defendant say that she never even intended to hit Ajika when she shot. You're going to hear the defendant say that Ajika was at the door, and the defendant believed that Ajika was going to break down that door and kill her. But you're also going to hear the defendant say that Ajika was at the door that evening, saying, I want to speak to you because I don't like the way you're talking to my sons. At the end of this case, you're going to hear that the defendant, Susan Laurence, knowing the police were coming, was in her apartment with the door locked and shot through a lock, that locked front door, and killed Ajika Owens, who was unarmed. We're going to present the evidence to you in this case. And after the evidence is presented, we are going to come back to you and ask that you find the defendant guilty of manslaughter by use of a firearm. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Carranza, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, sir, may it please the court.
Let me know when you need the overhead.
We're ready, Your Honor.
I've got it on the defense laptop.
Good morning. Allow your minds to wander
I'm
back
back.
to June 2nd of 2023 in the Quill Run of Ocala, 1662 Southwest 107th Lane, apartment number 3. The apartment where Susan Laurence lived. She had just gone through hell. Ajika Owens, her neighbor, had come to her door and pounded that door violently for minutes. And Susan shot through that door. And what the evidence will show is that she shot through that door for self-defense. That she was terrified that A.J. Owens was going to break down that door and pulverize her. The evidence will show that Susan, at the time, was almost 59 years old, living alone in this tiny little apartment, 800 square feet. There was only one door that you could leave from. And in front of that door was A.J. Owens. An individual that was tall, that was 24 years her junior, and that outweighed her by 80 pounds. You will hear that Susan Laurence was 59 years old, but had a multitude of medical problems. So physically, she was a lot older than 59 years old. And it was at this point, after she went through this hell, she called 911.
What was the address of the emergency?
1662 Southwest 157th Lane, Oh my God, this lady just tried to break down my door. I shot through the door. Oh my God.
Okay, repeat that address for me to make sure I have it correct.
1662 Southwest 107th Way.
Okay, what is your name?
Laurence. They're trying to come in my house.
Okay, take a deep breath for me. Calm down.
Oh my God.
You said someone tried to break down your door, is that correct?
Yes, yes, the woman was screaming and yelling and she was trying to break down my door and she was...
Okay, it was a female?
Yes. I didn't know what to do. I grabbed my gun and I shot at the door. And I thought she was going to get me. Oh my God.
Okay, you said you shot at the door, is that correct?
Yes, I shot at the door because she wouldn't stop. I told her to get away and she wouldn't. She just begged to stay.
Okay, where's your gun now?
It's in my bedroom. I didn't know what to do. I was panicking. This is the woman who attacked me.
Okay, do you still see the subject?
I don't know where she is. I'm still in my house. I didn't open my door to her.
Is it just only you in the home?
Yes, it's just me.
Okay, I just need you to lock all your doors and windows, okay?
I have.
Okay, I'm going to stay on the line until the deputies get there.
Okay. They were going to come and kill me.
And did you know her?
Yes, she's come after me several times because of her children. Her children keep trespassing over here. They're bothering me and bothering me. They won't fucking stop.
Is she a neighbor?
Yes.
Do you know where she lives?
She lives at 1663 Southwest 107th Lane.
1663 Southwest 107th Lane, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know her name?
Ajike Owens.
I'm sorry, what was the first name?
Ajike, A-J-I-K-E.
Okay. Just let me know when you see the deputies. And like you said your gun is put up in the bedroom.
Yes,
is that
yes.
correct? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
And what unit number is for the subject?
I don't know. I don't know if she's one or two.
Okay.
She has an old broken down Honda or something, a white car in front of her house. It's all garbage.
You said a white Honda?
Yes. And then she has a new Acura.
Okay. You're doing good. Just take a deep breath for me. You do have deputies on the way, okay?
Okay.
And do you see the male subject, or you just see the female?
See, her boys were here earlier. They keep leaving their garbage all around the house.
Okay.
And then I told them to take the crap away, get the fuck out of here.
Do you know where the boyfriend is now?
I'm sorry?
Do you know where the boyfriend is now?
No.
Okay.
I'm not screaming outside now.
entire trial will revolve around perceptions and the state of mind of Susan Laurence when she shot through that door. This 911 call that I just played for you all will be presented into evidence. And in this 911 call, you hear it. You hear the quiver in her voice. You hear the shaking in her voice. And you hear at the beginning the absolute terror that she had. This 911 call, the evidence will show, occurred seconds after she shot through that door. And what the evidence will show, that at the time that she shot through that door, in her core, in her soul, in her heart, in everything that she was, she felt that she was in mortal danger. And that she had to shoot. Because A.J. Owens, her neighbor, that was 24 years her junior, outweighed her by 80 pounds, was going to break in and pulverize her. Now, what the evidence will also show is that Susan Louise Laurence was born in Passaic, New Jersey on July 23rd, 1964. She grew up in New Jersey. She was in New Jersey until she was approximately 30 years old. And approximately 1995 or so, she moved to Springville, Florida, in Hernando County. She moved there because her parents lived there, and she wanted to spend time with her parents. So she moved over there. You will hear that in the 30 years that she was in New Jersey, she was a productive member of society. She was an EMT, or she was a landlord. She was a waitress. She was gainfully employed. She was a home health care provider. She was an assistant bookkeeper. When she moved down to Hernando County back in 1995, she continued to be a productive member of society, where she was a chef. In about 2005 or so, she moved to Ocala. You'll hear that the reason why she moved to Ocala, Florida, was because she loved horses. She absolutely bred them. And she moved here because Ocala is a perfect place to be if you love horses. And that's why she moved here. You'll hear that at that point her mother had passed away, so there was no reason for her to be in Hernando County. And when she moved to Ocala, she continued to be a productive member of society. And she was a chef until COVID. You will hear through the evidence that in January of 2020, she moved to 1662 Southwest 107th Lane, apartment 3, where this incident occurred.
I'm not sure,
You will
Steph.
come to find out post-COVID, she was no longer a chef because that business had dried out, as we all remember. So she went to school and she became an insurance agent. And she worked for insurances, selling insurance. She was a licensed Florida insurance agent. She worked from home, and she worked from home full time. And that's what she did. That's how she maintained herself. That's how she supported herself. You'll hear that in June of 2023, she was almost 59 years old, 58, almost 59 years old, but her body was much older than a 59-year-old. She suffered from many medical infirmities. You will hear that she had issues with her knee that caused countless surgeries.
Hey,
that involved
Patricia.
damaged
Hey,
tendons and ligaments in
hey.
her right knee, and a partial knee replacement in the left knee. Her right knee literally goes backwards because of all the damage to it. She had a car accident in 2019 that required invasive spine surgery, and she has diminished feeling in her legs and feet as a result of that spinal cord injury. You will hear that in 2021, she had a cervical fusion because of that car accident in 2019. She also had an aneurysm on her kidney. She had a torn muscle in her left shoulder and torn rotator cuff in 5 places. You will hear that she also had a herniated thoracic disc and carpal tunnel in both hands, and had surgery on her left hand because of it in 2022. You'll also hear that she is a survivor of ovarian cancer, and she's in remission. Needless to say, with all this physical ailments, Though 59 years old, almost 59 years old in June of 2023, inherently, she was significantly more autistic. You will come to find out that Susan lived alone in this apartment. Like I mentioned, a tiny little 800 square foot apartment, only one way to, which is that entrance, front door. You will come to find out that because she was alone, because she was older, because she had all these medical infirmities, she had bought a gun for protection, which many people her age and her situation do. Now, you will come to find out as well that in June of 2023, June 2nd, 2023, wasn't the first time that she had issues with AJ Owens. In February 25th of 2022, you'll hear testimony and evidence that she had a run-in with AJ. And in fact, that was the first time that she met her. Shortly after, Susan had that fusion in her neck. You will hear that there were no trespassing signs all over her neighbor, all over her yard. And you will come to find out that AJ Owens would walk her dog and defecate on her property. And that made Susan upset. So February 25th of 2022, she spoke to Miss Owens and said, please stop having your dog defecate on my property. You'll hear that AJ told her, you're a renter. It's not private property. You don't own it. I'm going to do whatever I want. And if this is where the dog wants to defecate, so be it. Susan told her, there's no trespassing sign. Leave. And you will hear evidence that AJ, this is the first time she met her, took that no trespassing sign, threw it at Susan, and it hit Susan's leg. This is where the fear started in Susan's heart, in Susan's core, towards AJ Owens. You will hear that in December of 2022, it was a chilly day, and there was an issue with one of AJ's kids trespassing on Susan's property. And AJ came to Susan's house, same apartment, 1622, apartment number 3, and started banging on her door and saying things. Saying, come out, and if you don't come out, I'm going to beat you till you're bloody. And you're going to hear evidence that pounding on that door, December 2022, 6 months before this incident, damage was caused to Susan's door and door frame. And you will hear evidence that that damage was there on the night in question, on June 2nd, 2023. You will hear evidence that Charles Gabard, who is the landlord of Susan and the owner of that property, attempted to fix that door frame, but didn't fix it completely. Because you'll see pictures that the damage was still there on that fateful night. And you will hear that Susan always knew after that incident, after December of 2022, that there was damage. And she took precautions. And the precautions that she took is she brought fire. The other precaution that she took is at night, she would put a chair under the doorknob in order to have more support. She got a chain for more support in that apartment as well. She did everything a reasonable person would do in order to be safe in her home. June 2nd, 2023 came along. Susan was starting a new job. And she was getting everything ready for her new job. It was summertime, so the kids were home. And she was getting everything ready for the new job, and the day went into night. And it started getting dark. Susan thought it was raining, so she took her umbrella, it was dark, and she went outside. When she went outside, she noticed that there were kids milling all around, and there were skates on her property. You will hear evidence that Susan has all these medical infirmities, and she falls on She was scared that she would fall and hurt her knees even further because of the skate second. So she asked the kids to pick up the skates. And you will hear what the kids told her, "You get them." So Susan did get them and threw them in the yard. And then they threatened her. She got scared. She ran into her house. And she was in a rush. So she locked the door, but she forgot to put that chair for extra support under the doorknob. She calls 911. You'll hear that 911 call, and you'll hear her fears. As she's in that 911 call, as she's speaking to 911, she goes to the bathroom. When she goes to the bathroom, she hears pounding on the sliding glass door. The 911 is over, and in her mind, she's thinking, wow, that was really quick. That must be Marion County. She
Okay, I have a question. I don't know if has been mentioned. Yeah, I'm sure it has been, but I've missed it. What ages were these kids? Does anybody know what the ages of these kids are? Um, just wondering. Are they big kids, older kids, littles? Like, I don't know.
heard loud pounding. She thought it was law enforcement. So she goes out. And like I said, you'll see pictures. This is a tiny little apartment. She'll go to that area. She went to the sliding glass door, and she hears the pounding, and she realizes it's not law enforcement. It's A.J. Owens. And A.J. Owens is mad. She's mad as hell. You'll hear testimony from children that were there that saw A.J. Owens walk from her apartment to Susan's house. And you will hear that A.J. Owens was walking with purpose. And she was mad as hell. And walking towards that apartment. You hear that she walked to the sliding glass door, and then the door, the front door. Susan is in her apartment. Nowhere to go. She is trapped. She has nowhere to go. And AJ's banging on that sliding glass door, saying, "You can't talk to my children that way. I'm going to fucking kill you. Get out here." Susan's terrified. Absolutely terrified. So she goes to her bedroom and gets her firearm. And when she goes to her bedroom and gets her firearm, she comes out to the living room area. And you'll see pictures of it. And she places herself several feet away from the door, next to a dining room table and next to some chairs, where she eats every day when she's at home. And AJ's pounding on that door. "I'm going to fucking kill you. Get out here." You'll hear from witnesses. You'll hear from her neighbor, Yvonne Costa, who's an older lady, like Susan, and who lives alone. You'll hear from Yvonne Costa that she was, on that fateful night, she was sitting in a chair, very close to her door. And Yvonne and Susan share a wall. You hear that she was watching TV, and all of a sudden, she hears pounding on that door, on that wall that they share. Pounding. And she's petrified. You hear that she's scared. She has no idea what's going on. It scares her. It's so loud, you hear that her cats go into her room and under her bed. You will hear that she, at first, was startled, scared to death, and she thought it was Susan banging on the wall. And then it stops. And then she hears more pounding, more banging on the wall, over and over again. And she's petrified. This time, it's even harder. You will hear scared to death as well. Miss Costa. It was so bad that the wall that they shared was shaking. And you will hear evidence that it wasn't Susan pounding on the wall. In fact, it was A.J. Owens. And Yvonne will testify that she heard screaming, loud, top of your lungs screaming as well. She describes it as when the Marion County Sheriff's Office shows up to the door saying, law enforcement here, police here, because the screams were deep and loud. And that's what Yvonne Costa will testify to. Another neighbor called Rosalie Smith will testify as well. And you will hear that Rosalie didn't see anything, but she heard a whole bunch. Rosalie lives about a football field away. And though she didn't see anything, she heard. Though a football field away, she is hearing the pounding on the door. She's going to testify that it sounds like someone's trying to break through a door. And she's hearing screaming a football field away, that loud, terrifying scream. Well, Yvonne Costa said that this incident lasted about a couple minutes. Rosalie Smith is going to testify that it felt like forever. And the evidence will show that Rosalie's statement that it felt like forever is how it felt to Susan. Susan is sitting there. She has her firearm. She's several feet away from the door. As AJ is pounding on that door, pounding over and over again for minutes, you'll hear testimony that there is a cement wall right next to the door. And it is moving. It is shaking. So much so that there is a mirror on that wall next to the door. And it's shaking as well.
Have a good day, Kel.
You'll hear evidence. Susan's heart is pounding. Pounding. The kind of pounding that you feel that's so powerful, that's so treacherous, that you feel the heartbeat in your throat. And you'll hear that the banging on that door is so hard that it sounds like a horse through it. But you'll also hear from some children. And you'll hear that AJ was, through the children, you'll hear that AJ was pounding on that door. And she was cursing. She was saying fuck. She was saying bitch. She was saying that bitch. She was mad, and she was mad as hell. And Susan knew it. So we are back to Susan's apartment. Everything is going on. Minutes of this. And Susan's listening to this. Listening to the threats. Feeling fear deep into her soul. Knowing that AJ goes through that door, she's a goner. And what you will hear is that as AJ's pounding, Susan hears break. And in Susan's mind, in Susan's heart, in Susan's soul, in Susan's core, she feels like AJ's going to come in, pulverize her. So she shoots the fire. And you hear evidence that the magazine of that gun can carry 6 bullets, but Susan only fired once. She didn't fire twice. She didn't fire 3 times, not 4 times, not 5, not 6 times. Once, in order to save her life. Now, you will hear evidence that Susan thought, as Rosalie said, this was going to go on forever. But it was actually only 2 minutes. And you will hear testimony of why individuals that suffer through a stressful situation, why they feel that things went on longer than they actually did. We will present several witnesses. We will present witnesses of that evening, of that night, so you all can have a clear We will also present professionals that will recreate the scene. And you'll see a video of the recreation of the scene for your consideration. We will also present the testimony of a gentleman by Dr. Roy Bedard, who has a degree in educational psychology, and he specializes in use of force and decision making. And he will testify how individuals make decisions under stressful situations, such as the situation that Susan was in on June 2nd of 2023. At the end of this trial, we will ask you to find Susan Louise Laurence not guilty of manslaughter. The death of A.J. Owens is a tragedy. There is no doubt about that. But what the evidence will show, and will be presented in this trial, is that in her mind, in her soul, in her core, Susan Lawrence felt she had no choice at all, but to fire that door. It was either Susan or AJ. Susan chose to defend herself. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your consideration.
Judge, may we approach briefly?
No, ma'am. What we're gonna do, ladies and gentlemen, is take a short break, and then we'll get ready for our first witness, okay? So you go back to the jury room, leave your notebooks here, okay? Leave your notebooks here. Yeah.
All right. So, thoughts? I want to know how old those kids are, first of all. I like not like we've talked about this and I go back and forth, right? There's some trials that we know all the ins and outs to begin with. Like we know the backstory, we've watched things, we've heard things. And so we go into the trial with as much as we don't want to have any sort of bias one way or the other. We usually do. But like with this one, no clue. No clue. Like, is she just a hateful old woman who had it out for this mom neighbor? Because it's apparent she didn't much care for her to begin with, right? Her kids won't stay out of her yard. They're always tromping through, leaving toys in her yard that don't belong to her. You know, she thinks the mom's got all kinds of trash, whatever, cars. Just you could tell she just don't care for the woman, right? So is that the situation, or is it a situation where she really did feel threatened? Like, I want to hear of other people's dealings with AJ. Is he calling her AJ? Is that like a name that they call it? She goes by. The mom, I don't know, but anyway, they're going on break. They're going to be getting ready for their first witness. So, we can either continue on into the first witness, or do you guys want to go watch the opening statements of the Manson looking dude, the Finnegan guy? What say ye, chat? What say ye, chat? Steph says, so far, the thing that sticks with me is how non-concerned she sounded on the 911 call when she said that the boys were screaming at the end of the call. So one thing that stuck with me is her like um terror at the beginning of the call, but then by the end of the call you could tell she was irritated. You know what I mean? So um I'm not saying she wasn't scared, obviously, right? Uh yeah, I don't know. What say the chat? Steph says Finnegan. Um definitely, says Patricia. Miss King says, I think they had problems with each other, but it's hard to understand shooting through a door. Yeah. Did she say that she shot through the door thinking that she would make her quit? Like basically saying, I've got a GUN and I know how to use it and I'm gonna shoot through this door to make you leave me alone? Like, is that what she was, you know? She was irritated by the end of it, right, Patricia? Yeah. At the beginning of the call, yeah, she was super, like, you couldn't hardly understand her. The 911 operator was like, take a deep breath, you know. Um, by the end of it, she's talking about how the Honda was a piece of junk, trash sitting in the yard and stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, let's run over and check out the Sean Finnegan case trial, and see what the rigmarole is there. Let me pull it up. I closed that tab out earlier because um let me go back and find it. La da 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 da. Me likes to party. I don't cause trouble. I don't bother nobody. Um, Law and crime trials. That wasn't where I needed to go because they had it, but they weren't. Oh, well, hold on. They have it now, but are they actually like? Did they get the opening statements or not? Yeah, no, they didn't. They started with a witness. So let me go. It was WBLT Local 8 News. Here we go. Oh, goodness gracious, that was loud. Sorry if you heard that. I'm so sorry. Okay. Let me back this up. I'm going to turn the volume down on this one, and I'm going to turn my headphones off because audio on this is much, much better. Much, much better. Okay. Hold on. WBLT. Ah, like a big old BLT too, right? I love BLTs. Unless you're like Rosen Island on the Golden Girls and don't have any tomato, and then you try to make it a bacon, lettuce, and potato. Remember? Bacon, lettuce, and potato. All right. Now, let me share this tab. Yeah, let me share this tab right here. Make it bigger. All right. Okay, so I'm going to start this one, but keep in mind the audio on this is normal, so don't let it bust your eardrums, okay? Let's check this out.
Alternate jurors, and then the final 12 jurors will leave the courtroom together in a group. The final 12 jurors will begin your deliberations to make a decision in the case. Your deliberations will be secret, and you will not be required to explain your verdict to anyone. If the 12 final jurors find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder beyond a reasonable doubt, then we will proceed to a sentencing hearing, where the 12 final jurors, as well as alternates, will hear the additional evidence.
Oh, this is a
If this happens, you will receive more detailed instruction at the time.
this
If
is
the
a,
12 jurors find the defendant not guilty of first,
this is a death penalty case. Okay. This is a death penalty trial. Okay, okay.
first-degree murder or guilty of a lesser included offense of first-degree murder, then the juror duties will be complete, and the court will determine the sentence. Now that I've described in outline form what the trial is about, the trial itself, let me explain the functions that you and I will perform during the trial. I will decide which rules of law apply to the case. My decisions will be reflected in my responses to questions and objections to the attorney's. During the course of the trial, you will receive all. I will try to avoid as many of these interruptions as possible.
Jennifer Gale Paxton.
Find the proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
Okay, I'm going to scoot on to the actual opening statements and get through these jury legal words, okay? I'm going to do that. Are you guys hearing an echo in the video? Let me know. I need to figure my audio stuff out, y'all. Jeez Louise. Let me know if you hear an echo when the video plays. I usually try to mute myself when I usually try to keep my mic muted while the stream is going so that you don't hear the, interruptions from kids and animals and husbands and phone calls and all that stuff. But yeah, sometimes if I don't remember to mute myself and the video's playing, I need to know if you guys hear an echo when that happens. So just let me know if you do, okay? All right. Thank you, Steph.
The defendant is guilty of either premeditated first-degree murder or first-degree consent, whether the defendant will be sentenced to death, life in prison, the defendant guilty beyond a sentencing hearing. For proceed.
Both present that Sean Shannon body of the state C0.
And now we'll proceed with the murder charge. This completes my opening statements to you, and now we'll proceed with
This
the
dude
reading
looks
of the
like he's a
indictment.
nervous wreck. The Sean Finnegan.
General.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, please, in docket number C1C0051A, True Bill, State of Tennessee, County of Anderson, 7th Judicial District, Criminal Division, Count 1. The grand jurors of the State of Tennessee, duly elected, impaneled, sworn, and charged to inquire in and for the body of the County of Anderson in the state aforesaid, upon their oath, present that Sean Shannon Finnegan and heretofore to wit, on the date specific between December 1st, 2019 and December 31st, 2019, before the finding of this indictment in the county aforesaid, did then and there unlawfully, intentionally, and with premeditation kill Jennifer Gale Paxton in violation of TCA 3913-202 and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Count 2, the grand jurors for the state of Tennessee, duly elected, impaneled, sworn, and charged to inquire in and for the body of County of Anderson in the state aforesaid, upon their oaths, present that Sean Shannon Finnegan, heretofore to wit, on a date specific between December 1st, 2019 and December 31st, 2019, before the finding of this indictment in the county aforesaid, did then and there unlawfully kill Jennifer Gale Paxton in the perpetration of aggravated kidnapping, as defined by TCA 3913-304 in violation of TCA 3913-202A2 against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Count 3, the grand jurors for the state of Tennessee, duly elected, impaneled, sworn, and charged to inquire in and for the body of the county of Anderson and the state aforesaid, upon their oath, present that Sean Shannon Finnegan, heretofore to wit, on a date specific between December 1st, 2019 and December 31st, 2019, before the finding of this indictment, in the county aforesaid, did then and there unlawfully kill Jennifer Gale Paxton in perpetration of aggravated rape as defined by TCA 3913-502 and in violation of TCA 39.
All right, you guys, again, trigger warning. I have the banner scrolling, but just trigger warning that this trial does have to do with, the R word. So, just a heads up.
13202A2 against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Count 4, the grand jurors for the state of Tennessee, duly elected, impaneled, sworn, and charged to inquire in and for the body of the county of Anderson and the state aforesaid upon their oath, present that Sean Shannon Finnegan, heretofore to wit, on a date specific between November 1st, 2019 and December 31st, 2019, before the finding of this indictment in the county aforesaid, did then and there unlawfully, intentionally, and knowingly, forcibly, while armed with a weapon, to wit, a baseball bat, sexually penetrate Jennifer Gale Paxton without her consent in violation of TCA 3913-502 and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Multiple trigger warnings, probably. I don't know anything about this case or this dude or this story other than the bare minimum. So I don't know what all charges, but apparently just warning, 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 warning. Okay. If you have to scoot on out, I completely understand. Just an FYI. Completely understand if you can't listen to this. Okay? Okay.
Count 5, the grand jurors for the state of Tennessee, duly elected, impaneled, sworn, and charged to inquire in and for the body of the county of Anderson and the state aforesaid upon their oath, present that Sean Shannon Finnegan, heretofore to wit, on a date specific between November 1st, 2019 and December 31st, 2019, before the finding of this indictment in the county aforesaid, did then and there unlawfully, intentionally, and knowingly, forcibly causing bodily injury, sexually penetrate Jennifer Gale Paxton without her consent in violation of TCA 3913-502 and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Count 6, the grand jurors for the state of Tennessee, duly elected, impaneled, sworn, and charged to inquire in and for the body of the county of Anderson in the state aforesaid, upon their oath present that Sean Shannon Finnegan, heretofore to wit, on a date specific between November 1st, 2019 and December 31st, 2019, before the finding of this indictment in the county aforesaid, did then and there unlawfully, intentionally, and knowingly, forcibly, while aiding and abetting each other, along with Rebecca Elizabeth Dishman, sexually penetrate Jennifer Gale Paxton without her consent in violation of TCA 3913-502 against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Count 7, the grand jurors for the state of Tennessee, duly elected, impaneled, sworn, and charged to inquire in and for the body of the county of Anderson in the state aforesaid, upon their oath present that Sean Shannon Finnegan, heretofore to wit, on a date specific between November 1st, 2019 and December 31st, 2019, before the finding of this indictment in the county aforesaid, did then and there unlawfully and knowingly remove and confine Jennifer Gale Paxton so as to substantially interfere with Jennifer Gale Paxton's liberty to facilitate the commission of a felony, to wit, aggravated rape as defined in 3913-502 in violation of TCA 3913-301 304-1 against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Count 8, the grand jurors for the state of Tennessee duly elected, impaneled, sworn, and charged to inquire in and for the body of the county of Anderson in the state aforesaid upon their oath present that Sean Shannon Finnegan, heretofore to wit, on a date specific between November 1st, 2019 and December 31st, 2019, before the finding of this indictment in the county aforesaid, did then and there unlawfully and knowingly remove and confine Jennifer Gale Paxton so as to interfere substantially with Jennifer Gale Paxton's liberty through the use of a deadly weapon, to wit, a baseball bat, in violation of TCA 3913-305 and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Count 9, the grand jurors for the state of Tennessee duly elected, impaneled, sworn, and charged to inquire in and for the body of the county of Anderson in the state aforesaid upon their oath present that Sean Shannon Finnegan, heretofore to wit, on a date specific between November 1st, 2019 and December 31st, 2019, before the finding of this indictment in the county aforesaid, did then and there unlawfully and knowingly conspire with Rebecca Elizabeth Dishman to commit a felony, to wit, intentionally and with premeditation, killed Jennifer Gale Paxton in violation of TCA 3913-202, and each having the culpable mental state required for the offense, which is the object of the conspiracy, and each acting for the purpose of promoting or facilitating commission of an offense, and each agreeing that one or more of them will engage in conduct which constitutes such offense in violation of TCA 3912-103 and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Count 10, the grand jurors for the state of Tennessee duly elected, impaneled, sworn, and charged to inquire in and for the body of the county of Anderson in the state aforesaid, upon their oath present that Sean Shannon Finnegan, heretofore to wit, on a date specific between November 1st, 2019 and December 31st, 2019, before the finding of this indictment in the county aforesaid, did then and there unlawfully, intentionally, and knowingly conspire with Rebecca Elizabeth Dishman to commit a felony, aggravated rape in violation of TCA 3913-502, with each having the culpable mental state required for the offense, which is the object of the conspiracy, and each acting for the purpose of promoting or facilitating commission of an offense, and each agreeing that one or more of them will engage in conduct which constitutes such offense, and an overt act in pursuance of the conspiracy having been done by Sean Shannon Finnegan and Rebecca Elizabeth Dishman, who on a date specific between November 1st, 2019 and December 31st, 2019, did sexually penetrate Jennifer Gale Paxton, causing bodily injury, all in violation of TCA 3912-103 and 3913-502 against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Excuse me. Count 11, the grand jurors for the state of Tennessee duly elected, impaneled, sworn, and charged to inquire in and for the body of the county of Anderson in the state aforesaid upon their oath present that Sean Shannon Finnegan, heretofore to wit, on a date specific between November 1st, 2019 and December 31st, 2019, before the finding of this indictment in the county aforesaid, did then and there unlawfully agree with one or more persons that he would engage in knowingly removing and confining Jennifer Gale Paxton so as to interfere substantially with Jennifer Gale Paxton's liberty through the use of a deadly weapon, to wit, a baseball bat, in violation of 3913-304, with Sean Shannon Finnegan and Rebecca Elizabeth Dishman having the culpable mental state required for said offense of aggravated kidnapping, agreeing that one or more of them will engage in conduct which constitutes such offenses, and an overt act in pursuance of the conspiracy having been done by Sean Shannon Finnegan, who on a date specific between November 1st, 2019 and December 31st, 2019, did hit Jennifer Gale Paxton with a baseball bat, each of them acting for the purpose of facilitating the commission of each offense in violation of TCA 3912-103 and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Count 12. The grand jurors for the state of Tennessee duly elected, impaneled, sworn, and charged to inquire in and for the body of the county of Anderson in the state aforesaid, upon their oath present that Sean Shannon Finnegan, heretofore to wit, on a date specific between December 27th, 2019 and August 6th, 2020, before the finding of this indictment in the county aforesaid, did then and there unlawfully and knowingly, without legal privilege, physically mistreat a corpse in a manner offensive to the sensibilities of an ordinary person in violation of TCA 3917-312 and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Count 13. The grand jurors for the state of Tennessee duly elected, impaneled, sworn, and charged to inquire in and for the body of the county of Anderson in the state aforesaid upon their oath present that Sean Shannon Finnegan, heretofore to wit, on or about November 1st, 2019, and December 31st, 2019, for the finding of this indictment in the county aforesaid did then and there unlawfully, while knowing an investigation or official proceeding was pending or in progress, alter, destroy, or conceal a record, document, or thing with intent to impair its verity, legibility, or availability as evidence in the investigation or official proceeding in violation of TCA 39-16-503 and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee.
Thank you, counsel. Counsel, has Mr. Finnegan pleaded those charges?
Sean Finnegan pleads not guilty, Judge.
Thank you, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, in just a moment, we're going to hear opening statements from the attorneys. Remember, I told you those are not evidence. Today, I try to take a lot of breaks for y'all, but if I don't take a break quick enough, if one of y'all just kind of raise your hand, I kind of know what that means. And so we'll take a break at that time. We'll probably take at least one break in the morning. In the afternoon, we'll probably take 2 breaks. We'll probably stop around 5 or 5:30 this evening, because that's kind of what our plan is. All right? Okay, open statements.
Thank you, Your Honor. What's this I hear about a body in a freezer? There ain't no body in a freezer. That's bullshit. This was sort of the culmination of the roads diverging, the beginning of the end for Sean Finnegan and his crimes against Jennifer Paxton. That was the interaction he had with an Oak Ridge police officer on August 5th, 2020. But how did we get here? You're going to hear the evidence today from the state's witnesses, including someone who's there, including investigators. But it all comes down to the roads of 3 people. Sean Finnegan was being investigated that day, initially, as what was maybe a neighborhood complaint. But what had happened to get us to this point was this defendant kidnapped Jennifer Paxton, brought her to his house here in Oak Ridge from Knox County, looked at Rebecca Dishman and said, "You want to kidnap her?" and hit her with a baseball bat across the head. He then chained her to his bed. The 2 of them engaged in raping her, kept her chained for days. She had to defecate in a Fireball whiskey bucket that they brought upstairs to the bedroom for her. And at some point he said he was going to kill her. And Sean Finnegan, at that point, strangled Jennifer Gale Paxton to death. Multiple times. It took hours, perhaps, for Jennifer to actually pass, because you'll hear that Sean Finnegan would choke her and then let her go, and choke her and let her go. You'll see the physical evidence from her throat, actually ligature marks from it cut open. After he finished, cleaned up the body, ordered a freezer and put that freezer in his house, wrapped up her body, and put Jennifer Gale Paxton in the freezer. And he kept her there for 8 months. Until, again, what's this I hear about a body in the freezer? So we have Jennifer Gale Paxton. You've heard a little bit about her. She was addicted to drugs. She lived in homeless camps, transient. Sometimes she was on Chapman Highway homeless camp. Sometimes she was at one near Merchants Drive. Those are both in Knox County. Sean Finnegan worked at the Pint House. That is a bar pub that is on Merchants Drive in Knox County. She engaged in prostitution. And it was something that she would do to trade drugs or money for sex. She ended up coming home with Sean Finnegan. Ostensibly for that. Drugs, sex, good time. But she never left that house. You'll hear from Rebecca Dishman. She's the co-defendant in this case. You just heard me read her name on conspiracy charges, working in conjunction with him. And you'll hear, she was there. She had a relationship. You'll hear her up from the stand right here tell you that she and Sean Finnegan were dating. She loved him. She was about 21 years old when they met in the fall of 2019. And by December of 2019, Jennifer Gale Paxton was being held hostage in the same apartment where Rebecca Dishman was living with her boyfriend, Sean Finnegan. So she's 21. She moves in with Sean after meeting him on Facebook in the fall. She has what is a BDSM relationship with Sean Finnegan. If you're not familiar with that term, it is bondage, dominance, submission, sadomasochism. It is a master-servant sort of relationship. And she's into that. You'll see that she was engaged in this as his submissive, and he was the dominant. He was her master. She called him master. Mr. Finnegan is in the early 50s, 51, 52 when they met. She also calls him daddy. The power dynamic of these two individuals is very clearly master, submissive, dominant, submissive, daddy, baby girl. She's engaged in this. She participated. The state submits to you that Sean Finnegan was in control of this situation. She's there. He keeps her from having cell phone access. She doesn't have a job. She doesn't have a car she can drive. There's one there that was her aunt and uncle's. She doesn't know how to drive it. She can't leave. No job, no phone. She engages in the sexual acts with Jennifer Gale Paxton. She is home when Jennifer Gale Paxton's chained to the bed. And she's there when Sean Finnegan is choking her. But you'll see from the proof that Rebecca Dishman was a participant at the behest of Mr. Finnegan. You'll see that she was controlled, and eventually her dynamic with Mr. Finnegan changed from this is something I'm an active participant in to the point that she felt like she needed to get out. And she tried to get out. She went to neighbors. You'll hear from some of those. You'll hear about how she was telling them that she was getting hit, about how he was controlling of her. They saw it too. She goes, and she gets a neighbor who's tried to get her some help, and it's like, okay, we're going to get you this shelter. So in August of 2020, they make arrangements to pack up her stuff, what little she has, and get out and take her to a shelter. They're going to go up in Campbell County to get away from here in Anderson County. One other person lives in this house with Sean and Rebecca, and that's Sean Finnegan's mother. Police proof showed that she was aware that Rebecca was leaving and notified her. Sean comes home and realizes she is gone and confronts a neighbor. Meanwhile, Mahogany Heck, Pico, she was Mahogany Heck at the time, Pico got married. She helps Miss Dishman. And they are driving up to Anderson, or driving up from Anderson County to Campbell County. And Miss Dishman says, I gotta tell you something. And at that point, Miss Dishman tells her about the kidnapping, about beating Miss Paxton with a bat, about having her chained to the bed rail for days, tells her about the choking and killing, and tells her she's in the freezer. And that freezer is in the bedroom closet. It is in Sean Finnegan's closet. Mahogany says we have to call the police, and does that. And they report and they send them back here to Anderson County. So they are en route back here, and Mahogany calls her fiance, now husband, Colt Pico. And he calls the police. So we have, again, these roads converging. Mahogany and Rebecca are on their way to Anderson County, getting to Anderson County. Colt Pico calls 911. While he's calling 911, Sean Finnegan, all these roads converging now, is on his doorstep saying you should mind your own business, angry at him, cursing him, and you'll hear that 911 call from Mr. Pico and hear from him telling you about this incident, where he's telling the police, here's what my wife is telling me, and this guy's on my doorstep. So the officers arrived. That's where we began here. And said, what's this I'm hearing about it? And he says, ain't no body in the freezer. That's bullshit. So what happens next? From here, officers separate the two parties. Those patrol officers leave, and Rebecca is now arriving in Anderson County. And she's talking to people from the sheriff's office, and they realize this is something that happened in Oak Ridge. So she goes to Oak Ridge, and she gives a statement there, and they're like, there may be something to this here. This is quite a statement. So they put patrol on the house to look, make sure nobody's leaving, nobody's coming, going. They bring the crime task force out. They're monitoring the area, make sure nothing's happening, and they continue investigation. So we have these people at the scene, at the house on 318 East Fairview in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And then we have investigators who are doing interviews, working with Knox County to see if there's a missing person from Knox County, because this is the information that Ms. Dishman is supplying, all of the graphic details of what happened and where this girl's from. They get an identification of this woman, Jennifer Del Paxton, and they get a search warrant. And so they go into the house in the wee hours of the morning. It's August 6th, before dawn at this point. And they go in and look around the house. And they open that freezer. Frozen pizza and burritos. Well, that's weird. So they continue looking around the house, and they've monitored through the course of this. They've seen Sean Finnegan go out, smoke. He actually took a drive, went to a store, got some cigarettes. They have people watching him the whole time, goes back. So they look around. Sean Finnegan had taken Jennifer Paxton's frozen body and put it under his bed while the officers doing the investigating. Reassembled, put the shelves back in the freezer, and put in frozen foods. But officers were able, investigators were able to find her. And as is normal in an investigation, called in medical examiner's office. And you'll hear testimony from the medical examiner about the injuries that occurred to Jennifer Del Paxton before she died. those blows to the head, the strangling, the wounds, the bruising. You'll also hear about injuries to the body after she was deceased. Her nose had been removed. Dozens of sharp force trauma, lacerations, cuts to her body that occurred after death. You'll hear how there's freezer burn on her. She had been there for 8 months, at least since late December, early January. It is indicated from the examination that the freezer burn and stuck to the freezer, she had to be cut out, literally cut out on her arm and the side of her face to get her out of the freezer, to then put her frozen fetal position body under the bed. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the proof, the state's going to ask you to think about the proof, to think about what you heard, what you saw from this witness stand, and apply your common sense and the laws instructed by the judge to the facts of this case. And the state submits to you that when you do that, it will be evident that Sean Finnegan committed first-degree premeditated murder, that he raped Jennifer Paxton, he used a baseball bat, he hit her, he caused bodily injury to her. Sean Finnegan kidnapped her, kept her chained to the bed. Sean Finnegan worked with Rebecca to do this. Sean Finnegan tampered with the evidence, freezing her, wiping her down with bleach before he put her in there and wrapping her up. You'll hear that when this body was found, it had dozens and dozens of post-mortem injuries occurred to the corpse of Jennifer Paxton. At the conclusion of the proof, you'll see that Sean Finnegan is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of each and every count which he is charged, and we will ask you at the conclusion of the proof to return that verdict of guilty.
Thank you. Open statements.
Oh, Lord have mercy. What in the world is his defense going to be? Like, I've no clue. No clue. I haven't watched any of this except for just to make sure that the opening statements had started. And I knew enough to know that the audio was better in this courtroom than the neighbor lady's trial. So I have no idea what the defense is going to say, what his defense is. I don't know. Good heavens.
So yesterday, when we were talking about perspective, and I told you guys this was going to be difficult. And the reason is because of the events, and the situation, and what you're going to hear is, most of it is related to things that happened afterwards. And so that's one thing I'm going to ask you to separate. Your job is to figure out if Mr. Finnegan is guilty of something, what he's guilty of. And so you have to be able to separate out the fantastic nature of these facts, because we're going to be talking about stuff that maybe is not in most of our lives. It's not in mine personally, generally, so it's really hard to understand things from that particular lifestyle. But this is a lifestyle that all of these folks were involved in to some degree. Restaurants, late nights, drugs, alcohol, sex, kinky sex, weird sex. It was part of what they were doing. And so I guess I'm asking you to kind of step back and think about it, even if you can't view it from the perspective of someone who does that, just realizing that they probably view the world a little bit differently than you do, and maybe they would make different decisions when faced with different issues than you would, or that I would, or anybody would, that's not involved in that type of situation, okay? And so that's all I'm asking you to do with regards to perspective. Because we all come in with different perspectives. And so when we have prosecutors, they look at things through a prosecutor's lens, right? And defense attorneys look at things through defense attorney's lens. It's probably not surprising to you that I see things a little bit differently than they do. Or we wouldn't be here probably. Mr. Finnegan sees things a little bit differently than they do. Or we wouldn't be here probably. We're going to talk a lot about Rebecca Dishman. They want you to understand this master-servant relationship, dominant, submissive relationship. And the age difference is a big deal, right? He's in his 50s and she's in her early 20s. And I think that they're trying to present her as mentally handicapped somehow, which she pled guilty to murder, y'all. But they're trying to present her as some kind of mentally handicapped person because she's the witness now. And the story comes from her. Nobody else was there. Sean and Rebecca Dishman. And Sean's mother, who he was taking care of, who was in hospice care. So, who can tell the story, right? She can. So all of the facts that you just heard, all of the stuff that happened to Jennifer Paxton is straight from Rebecca Dishman's mouth. And so all I'm really asking you to do is to I'm asking you to do the same thing they're asking you to do, basically. And that's to just pay attention to the evidence. And you need to ask yourself, how does that apply to what happened, to the versions of what happened, okay? Because Rebecca Dishman also gave multiple versions of what happened. Mr. Finnegan gave a statement too, and I have to assume that you're probably going to hear it, that the state's going to play it. So I mean, you'll hear what he says happened too. And from my perspective, the physical evidence and all of the evidence, the timing is more consistent with his version of events than hers. Mr. Finnegan works full-time. He worked at a restaurant. He's a very simple, straightforward kind of dude. I guess he goes to work and he works long shifts. He doesn't get home till 3 or 4 in the morning. He supported himself, his mother, and Rebecca Dishman while she lived there, and a couple other people who he supported when they needed help and asked him for money or drugs or whatever. It's the lifestyle that they lived. He was giving people places to crash. So I'd like to present this in a different way. We have this age difference, and that's our natural reaction. I say it's my natural reaction, okay, to that when we see this age difference and they're poor, that the old man must be taking advantage of the young girl for sexual favors or for whatever. If he were Leonardo DiCaprio, we would say that the 21-year-old is taking advantage of him for his money. Maybe, right? I mean, the point is it's the perspective. And you have to look at who's in control the whole entire time. For 9 months, that body's in that freezer. She's alone at that house most of the time. Most of the time. Not locked. I mean, I'm talking about Rebecca Dishman, the one who tells the story of what happened there. The one who told the story that the state bases their entire case upon. Her version of the events. Okay. She was the one who was there alone. With Jennifer Paxton, he was at work. He worked in the evenings. So for 9 months, in a body in the freezer, or days supposedly chained to a bed, and all of these type of things, I mean, you better make them prove that stuff, because that comes out of her mouth, all of those events. And you also need to think about who was into this, who would want these type of things, who would benefit the most from this type of thing, who would have some sort of motive to kill the prostitute that Mr. Finnegan brought home. You're going to hear that they had threesomes before. This wasn't the first time that someone had come home. You're going to see texts where she's saying, it's time, I want to have sex with a girl. It's time, I want to have sex with, it's time or whatever. I mean, this was stuff that they did. All right.
Margaret, sometimes I wonder if defense attorneys aren't holding back on gagging while they make these arguments, right? Right. Yeah. He said that though about Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, I understand where he's coming from. I understand why he made that statement. It just feels ick in this situation, right? But I don't know. I don't know. So I know, right, Patricia? Patricia's like, I feel like all of this is so none of my business. I know. I feel like this is a lot. I didn't know all of this was included. Um, Steph says I couldn't do it. So it's obvious he's putting the blame on the Dishman chick. Yeah. That's where he's going with the blame game, right? I don't know. Moving on. What's a step? Moving on. I want to hear. I was reading an article a while ago, um, and it was saying that the Dishman chick is gonna testify against. She pled guilty. Um, I guess took a plea bargain to testify against him. So yeah, I don't know about that, but I'm with Patricia.
Right? So who had motive to kill? Mr. Finnegan goes to work and supports everybody and likes sex. And smokes pot. He's an old burnout. He has like a 6th grade education. Who's in control? She lets it slip to her neighbor, or she starts talking to her neighbor. Maybe she's getting ready to leave or something, I don't know. But she starts talking to a neighbor who's been hanging out with him for months. Stays over there, they're all friends, they hang out. If she's being abused all this time, that's what they want to say, she's being abused all this time. No reports, nobody, this friend's not going to try to get her out or help her or any of this kind of stuff. So finally, this one day, she lets it slip to a friend or starts talking to her about, well, he's just being abusive now and stuff. And maybe the friend's had enough of hearing it or something because she's not doing anything or she's not seeing any evidence of it or I don't know what. We're probably going to hear from her. We can ask her, I guess. But that day, she tells her, and then what happened? It's just now she's got to go with something, doesn't she? She left the house. She's got her stuff. She's got a friend. And from the very beginning, she knew who would get blamed. It's his house. He's a 51-year-old man who's there taking care of his mother. She's a 21-year-old girl who basically gets whatever she wants to using sex. And who do you think is going to get blamed? Who do you think that she thought was going to get blamed? Who do you think he thought was going to get blamed? So I think at the end of the proof, you're going to find him guilty of some things. I mean, if they prove it, then you should, right? But there are two different things. He gave a statement to the police. She gave several statements to the police. She's going to get some more statements in here. But he also just gave another statement that she did not give. And that's when I stood up for him just a minute ago and I said, not guilty. For some reason, the state's given her a plea. She had lawyers too, right? She had lawyers too. And she had good lawyers. I don't think that they would if she was mentally incapacitated, I don't believe they would let her plead guilty to a first-degree murder. If they didn't think she was mentally culpable, I don't believe they would have let her plead guilty to first-degree murder. And if she wasn't guilty, I don't believe she would have pled guilty to a first-degree murder. In fact, during the soliloquy of pleading guilty, well, most of the time the judge asks, are you pleading guilty because you actually are guilty? And they have to say yes. Okay? He pled not guilty. And we're here. They were both charged with the same stuff. She was also facing the death penalty. So who's in control? She goes out, she reports that he's got a body. She tells totally different stuff. That she was being tortured for like a month, chained to the bed, all these different things, that he's ejaculating on the body, and he's opening up the freezer, and he's doing all these things. That's all from her. There's literally zero evidence that proves any of that stuff. That's from her. So when the state says you're going to hear, they're right. You're going to hear, and you're going to hear it from Rebecca Dishman, and that's it. That's it. There's no denying something horrible happened. Something horrible. There's a reason why there are cameras in the courtroom and the media's here, though. Is because this is this kind of thing that people podcast about. I've seen there's some podcasters in here. This kind of thing people write books about, right? Because it's fantastic. It's sensational. It's you've got a body in the freezer. I mean, it's got all the hallmarks of a movie, doesn't it? And so when you're trying to paint a picture of someone who would do this sort of thing, we've seen so many movies. I mean, I've seen so many movies. I've seen so many television shows. And what's the profile of someone who would do something? You know, a middle-aged white dude, right? And he's sitting over here, a middle-aged white dude. And it fits the profile. It's real easy to point the finger. But you have to consider where the evidence comes in. We talked about garbage in, garbage out. If you base your decisions and you base your interpretation on evidence that comes from a terrible source, or which would be questionable whether or not it's evidence, right? Because it's just something that's being offered from a terrible source, or an unworthy source, or an unbelievable source. That if you're basing your opinion on information that's coming from a bad source, then the conclusion that you reach is necessarily bad. That's the concept, that's the idea. So you have to think about where this information is coming from. You have to make them do their job. I mean, that's your job. That's your job, is to make them do their job. Just because they think it's true doesn't make it true, okay? Just because they say it's true doesn't make it true. Just because they say the evidence.
You're right. Defense attorneys are there to make sure that the prosecution does their job. I get that. Just because they say it's true doesn't mean it's true. I get that. Totally understand that. Totally understand that. He's basically just putting it every bit on the Dishman chick, in my opinion. He's like, the dude was at work. The dude is not even home. He's working at this restaurant slash bar. I don't know.
To us looks this way doesn't mean that's the way it is. It means that's the way it looks to them. And it fits in with the scenario that was presented by Rebecca Dishman. But don't let them think that she's a victim here. That she's the victim, she's coming in here, he was pulling all the strings. She's this puppet, and she's trapped at the house, and she can't leave, and she can't. She wasn't. She was not trapped at the house. That's where she lived, because he housed her and fed her and provided her a phone and probably glasses and probably food and probably every other thing, because she didn't.
So the dude's mom lived there too. Did the mom not realize that there was a female chained up in the bedroom? Right, Steph? He admitted the dude brought her home. You can't say he didn't notice her trapped in his bed for days. Mm.
Didn't have a job.
The judge is sitting here looking like Judge Wapner. And he's like, I love Judge Wapner. Do you guys remember Judge Wapner? I want to see Judge Wapner. Anyway, this dude's reminding me, this judge is reminding me of Judge Wapner. And he's like, this is too much for me. I can't deal with this stuff. It's too much. It's too much.
Job. She didn't work. I think you're going to hear her talk about she was trying to get disability, and we'll see if we'll talk about that because she kind of knew the process, and that's also something that someone that has, mental capacity issues probably wouldn't understand the process. It's not a simple process to get disability. I don't know if anybody's ever gone through that process or not. You're going to hear that she has some depression and she's got some learning disabilities. Well, learning disabilities do not equate to a lack of intelligence. I went to law school with someone that was toward the top of my class and she was dyslexic. It doesn't equate. So, depression. Half the lawyers and doctors and professionals I know have depression, have OCD, have ADHD. It doesn't equate to lack of intelligence, okay? So don't let them do that. Don't let them put her up here and pretend like she's a victim when she just pled guilty to all of these charges. Listen to what she says, see if it makes any sense, and then realize that from the beginning, she started telling the story, they bought the story, all the stuff starts to line up with the story she told because she knows all the details, she was there. She knows amazing details. She knows the details about this woman's body, where the cuts are, all her tattoos, that they're naming kids here. She knows all these things. Well, I think she's going to testify to all that stuff. But she knows amazing details. You know why? Because she spent all the time with her. She's the one who was doing all this stuff. She's the one who was interested in any of this kind of stuff. She's a cutter. She talks about cutting. She's got depression, where all the cuts on the body, everything relates back to Rebecca Dishman. She's the one that's at the house. Then she goes out and she blames the one person who they know, who she knows she can blame. And what's he supposed to do? He helps her. And when he goes to the police, when they come and get him, of course he's scared. Of course he denies it. But once he goes in there, he goes, I know why you came and got me. I helped her cover it up. That's the first thing. That's his first reaction. And if they play his statement, you'll see it, right? You'll see the way he reacts to the police officer. And he's really kind of straightforward with them. And they're berating him. They're coming after him. They did not treat her like that. They treated her like a victim. And I think we'll hear that from the officers too. Which is probably not wrong, because she came in and made some accusations they had to follow up. I mean, they weren't acting wrongly by treating her like a victim, because it sure seemed like she was a victim. And then the longer she talked, and the more it changed, and then the details started changing, and then you can see the wheels turning in the officers, because they're good. They know what they're doing. And they started their wheels turning, and they said, well, she's more involved. Right? Because they eventually charged her with the same crimes. And now they need her
Sherry. Yes.
to make their case, which should be problematic. Should be problematic.
No worries, Steph. I'm only listening to these opening statements. Okay? I'm not saying that we're going to watch this trial. I just wanted to bide our time until the Telus trial starts tomorrow. Okay? I did get, side note, I did get a notification a while ago that there's some stuff going on in another case that I've been looking at and watching. And I might do a quick um, update video on that when I get back from picking kiddo up. I don't know. I might have time to stop and then start another stream because it's only 104 right now. So let's get through the rest of this opening statement, and then I think I might jump over and do the other stream that I wanted to do, and I wanted to make it a separate stream because it has nothing to do with trials at the moment. So let's get on with this, though. Okay.
Because if they had enough evidence to prove what they're claiming against him without her, they wouldn't put her on the stand. Okay? So all I'm asking is to pay attention to the power, the actual dynamic, the actual power dynamic, okay? Servant and master, or whatever, servant and master, dominant, all that kind of stuff. We're going to see texts. She initiates most conversations. Hey, I'm thinking about you. It's all sexting and like, it's kind of gross. We're going to go through it, okay? And almost always the conversation ends with, baby, I got to go. I'm getting busy. I'm at work. And she's texting from her friend's phone, Mahogany, all this stuff. Who's going to come in and say, you know, I guess that she was abused. I don't know what she's going to say. We'll see what she says, but I mean, you got to look at all of it. You can't just take the narrative that's laid out there. It's too easy. It's too easy. And I told you, this is not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. You're supposed to be able to separate out the reality from the narrative, right? This isn't, y'all are not writing news articles. It's not a narrative where you have to tell this linear story. They kind of do because their job is to tell the story. And it's a hard job, and they've got to come and they've got to try to do it. But it doesn't mean they can't. And your job is to make sure that either they can or they can't, but you got to make sure that they do. Because the more we allow the state, well, the lower we take the burden, we're just notching away at our individual rights. We're just notching away at them. We have to hold them to our burden. That's what defense attorneys do, right? We wake up every day and we try to defend the Constitution the best we can. That's ideally what we're doing. Because we have to defend people who are charged with crimes in order to do that, right? And so then we come in here and our job is to make them do their job because that makes them better. That makes the police better. That makes the attorneys better, the prosecutors better. It makes the system better. And the system is you. Y'all are what makes this work. And the way that you make this work is you hold them to their burden. You don't just take them on their word. And you don't just take their narrative as the truth because that's the way they see it. Right? We're not on their team. We're all citizens of this state, and they represent the state of Tennessee. They represent me just like they represent you guys. They represent they prosecute for the state of Tennessee. But they're humans just like I am, and they see things a certain way. And if you're a prosecutor, you see things like a prosecutor. If you are a police officer, you see things like a police officer. Because that's your experience. That's your life experience. I'm asking you guys to step out of whatever your life experience is. Because you're going to be dealing with stuff that I think is probably not a part of your life experience. So don't jump to conclusions just because of the awe factor. Because this is a shock and awe campaign, all right? They're going to show you disgusting things. Most of it happened after the fact. After the fact. And what you're really here to determine is what happened before. What happened? How did she die? Who intended to kill her? Right? Who intended to kill her? Who intended to kidnap her? If there's a kidnapping, right? Who intended any of it? That's what you're here to determine. Because if you can't determine that, then he's not guilty. Right? He's not guilty. He's presumed innocent. That he's presumed innocent. Beyond a reasonable doubt means that if there is a doubt, he gets the benefit of that doubt. Literally the benefit of the doubt. You've got to keep that in mind. Because we're about to hear a bunch of crazy stuff. A bunch of crazy stuff. So please, just pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. And every time that there's evidence here and there's scientific evidence.
Oh, Lord have mercy. I just got a text that Dishman chick takes the stand. She must be, like, in this trial today. Lord have mercy.
or there's something that's being introduced, ask yourself, does this evidence support what she said? Or does it support more of what he said? Or does it support any of it, right? Does it support any of it enough to be beyond a reasonable doubt for anything? That's the first thing. But you're also, this is almost like a he said, she said situation to some degree when you're trying to determine what actually happened in there. Because I think that there's not going to be a lot of argument about some of the things that happened afterwards. There's definitely going to be argument about some of the other things, but he gave a statement and he admits to things, and you can take them for what they are, and you can determine whether or not it proves beyond a reasonable doubt, but we're leaving that up to you guys. He did not plead guilty to first-degree murder. He did not plead guilty to kidnapping. He did not plead guilty to aggravated kidnapping. He did not plead guilty to anything on here. So anything that you want to find him guilty of, you're going to have to find him guilty of. And you're going to have to find him guilty because they proved it. That's the only way you can do it. It's the only way you can do it. And that's all I'm asking. It's real straightforward. I'm not going to try to pull the wool over your eyes. I'm not going to tap dance up here. But my job is to poke holes in what they claim supports her story. And so that's what I'm going to try to do. And you need to pay attention to see if what they put in here actually supports their story. Because if there's questions on responsibility, if there's questions on culpability, if there's questions on who wanted this to happen, if there's questions on who needed this to happen, if there's questions on who had the motive to make this happen, those are serious questions when we're talking about putting somebody to death. Those are serious questions, guys. There's not a more important case that you could sit on as a juror. There's not. There's just not. First-degree murder is the top charge in this state. And every time there's a first-degree murder jury, I say the same thing, I think. I try to. But you guys are doing the most important thing you could possibly do as a juror in the country. This is the top count anybody can face, and he's facing the top penalty anybody can face if he's convicted. Your job is to do your job. And I would never ask anybody to do more than their job. But you need to understand what your job is. And what your job is not to just kind of observe and take it all in. Your job is to literally sit there and critically judge every single thing that comes in. And it's a difficult thing because it's a difficult thing for me. I'm sitting there and I've been doing this a long time, and it's difficult to think about all the different facts. There's a lot of stuff to pay attention to. So the real simple question is, how does this prove what they're claiming happened? That's the question. Who's actually in control? The person that's testifying here who's still holding control basically over whether or not he lives or dies. Or the man sitting over there at the desk that says, I'm not guilty. At the end, I'm going to ask you to find him not guilty of first-degree murder. I'm going to ask you to find him not guilty of kidnapping. I'm going to ask you to find him not guilty of these underlying crimes that could even lead you to a death penalty determination, because he's not guilty of this. And I'm going to ask you to find him not guilty of those things. I told you there's some things you probably are going to find him guilty. Most of it has to do with after the fact, because he admits to it. And he doesn't, I mean, there's a psychological term, I think, and I may be using this wrong, but called projection. And that's where when you feel a certain thing, or your certain experiences, or you think a certain way, you project that onto another person as if they're the ones who feel that way, or they're the ones who do those things, or they're the ones who do that. We see it a lot of times in politics, I think, and that's more like intentional projection. But I feel like that's maybe what's happening here. Rebecca Dishman came in and she just started telling the police officer, basically, she reversed their roles. Not dominant, not daddy, and not the sex stuff, but she reversed their roles with regards to this. Because she knows all the detail. She knows all of them. And the physical evidence, everything supports the fact that she is responsible for it. And if it happened in his house with his ailing mother and everybody, and while he's gone most of the time, most nights, how is he guilty of kidnapping and murder stuff if literally he's not there? He's not there. I mean, how do you hold somebody captive? I mean, I guess with chains is what they're going to say, right? Except for that she was there. She was there. And she knows all the details. She's not stupid, y'all. You're not stupid. Make them do their jobs. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. So ladies and gentlemen, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and take our morning break this morning. It'll be for about 20 minutes to about 10:30. Then we'll bring you back in and the state will start presenting its evidence. My instructions to you not to discuss the case with each other. We can't do that until we've got all.
Yeah, chick is a. Yeah. This is her photo. She's on the stand right now. That's her. So, that will be very interesting. Very, very interesting. Mhm. So Steph says the case that I was talking about. There's a you guys remember that Christopher Schulte's the dad in Arizona that forgot his daughter in the car and the little 2-year-old. I know Steph hates these cases about kids. But this one is, yeah, apparently this was an update from 3 days ago and I didn't see that because, I was busy with a sick kid at home, not paying attention. He was arraigned, Margaret. I saw that, but did you see the body cam footage of him at the house? Did you see the body cam footage? That's what I wanted to talk about or to show. Um, and then he went and got a whole haircut and everything. He looks way different. The dad does. Yeah, the body worn camera. Okay. Um hold on. He admits. I mean, we already knew that the older kids had said that it happened, but he admits says that they released body cam footage of Christopher Schultes stating he was distracted by a video game and putting away groceries. And then he says 30-45 minutes is all it took. And it was 4 hours, not 30-45 minutes. Yeah, I know, Steph. Whew, whew, whew. Done with this planet, right? I know, I know, I know. But anyways, um, yeah, I'm gonna jump and I'm gonna start another stream for this other story. I'm going to send myself the link to this video that I want to watch with you guys. So, anyway, give me a couple minutes to get a stream put together. Yes, they did, Margaret. They upped him to first degree. Thank God. Yeah. I want to get to that. So let me hop off and get that stream ready, and I hopefully will see you guys back for that story here in a minute or two. I'm going to use the potty. Give me some water or something because my coffee's gone. But yeah, I'll see you back in a few. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up before you guys leave. Thanks for hanging out with us today. It was good to be back in the Crime Cafe. So make sure you have your notifications turned on. And here, let me do, just a real fun. Bam. Hi, Bev. Hi, Bev. I love her. All right. We will see you guys back in a moment. All right. Have a good afternoon. If I miss you guys, if you guys don't pop in over there. Otherwise, I'll see you in a moment. Bye, guys.